You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
When I got up this morning, I went in the garage and I had to pull out my car because I had to pull out my trash cans from the backyard. Long story short, I pulled straight out of my garage. Why? Because I backed in previously. Every time I pull in my garage, I back in. Boop, boop, boop. I back into my garage. When I park at work, boop, 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 I back into my parking space. And a lot of people wonder, well, is there a law in California? Are you allowed to do that? Here's the short answer. Yes. There's no law preventing it, but private garages and parking lots, they can prohibit it. You may go to a parking lot and it says head in only, as in park head facing. But if it doesn't have that sign, I'm always backing in. Some people think that's very pretentious. Mark is probably one of those people.
No, it's just irritating.
Okay, one of the same.
I agree with Mark.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
What is happening right now?
Okay.
Wait, are you siding with him, Tuwala?
How does my
back in?
Right. How does my backing into a parking space impact you negatively?
It's irritating for the person who's got to be riding with you. Does your wife like this?
No, I'm actually gentlemanly enough to say, hey, babe, you can go ahead and get out here.
Because you know it's irritating.
No.
Case closed.
No, it's not irritating. Parking head in doesn't have anything to do with her getting in or out of the car.
It's irritating for the people in the other cars waiting for you. It's just irritating.
How is it irritating for other cars? You back in.
You're just making up stuff, Mark.
No, because it takes longer. It takes forever while everybody else just wants you to park your damn car.
So you can't drive.
Right.
That's what we're talking about because I back right in.
It's just one move. And all the people who are parking straight in, they usually have to do like a 3-point turn if they don't cut it sharp enough to get in on the first try.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that it would be irritating if you weren't such an expert at it.
No, it's bad. Even if you're a regular parker and you want to go in and you're all crooked, most of the crooked parkers are people who go head in and can't make that turn. And they just park all angled.
That's also irritating.
That's right.
That's actually more irritating because you're typically taking up more than one space when you do that.
However, like to Mark's point, at your own place, you can do whatever you want. You're not getting in anyone's way. But when you're in a parking lot, you're basically saying, I'm the only person here. Stand back. I'm going to back in. And it backs up the line so much longer.
Not necessarily. No, I have a counter to that. Have you ever gone into a parking lot? I'm sure you have. Let's say it's Target or something like that. And you're waiting for this idiot to slowly back out of the parking space so you can pull in. And the reason why they're going so slowly is because they're looking over their right shoulder, looking over their left shoulder, making sure no one's walking behind them, making sure they have enough space to slowly pull out. And they'll do like a reverse 3-point turn, pulling out of that space, as opposed to driving straight out.
The existence of other irritating things doesn't negate your irritating thing.
It's actually more irritating because it's like, can't you? And if you say that you're not sitting in your car screaming to yourself, oh my God, can't you drive? There's no one behind you. Just back out.
It's happened too, but then I have that same kind of reaction when someone decides to back in and there's 3 cars deep.
Well, look, all I can say is I know how to drive, and if other people can't drive, that's not negative towards me. That's negative towards them. That's their problem. And part of the reason I started doing this, true story. I saw my sheriff friend. He was working for Century Station back in the day. And I was asking him because not only did he park his personal car, but he would use his deputy cruiser, sheriff cruiser. He would always back into whatever. And I said, why is that? You always do this. Like, well, we always got to go at a moment's notice. We always have to be ready. And that's part of the reason why we leave the engine running. Because we always got to go or be ready to go.
So you, on the other hand, might need to zoom to an In-N-Out or something immediately.
Maybe.
Maybe. Mark, when we've gone downstairs, we got in my car to go to the movies, it's always backed in. Why? Because it's downstairs, it's dark. If I don't know what's down there, if I need to get in and take off and just run down whoever's going to be in my way for any jacking purposes, I don't care if it's a parking lot, I don't care if it's a movie theater or a gym, I don't care where you are, you need to be ready to go.
If it's good enough for law enforcement, it's good enough for me. If it's good practice for them, it's good practice for me. It's all about safety. Safety.
Across the board?
Safety.
Yeah.
Because that's the other side of it. Like to Walla's point, getting mad about someone taking forever to back out. Sometimes you're behind the person that's going to back into the spot, but they they have to turn and then back in. It looks like they're going to go into the other spot. So I'm ready to go around them. And no.
No. You're supposed to handle it just like you would parallel parking, where you put on your signal. There's what you're supposed to do. Have you ever pulled up to a parking space on the right, like you're on the street, and you pass it because you're going to back in parallel park? You're supposed to put on your signal. It's the same thing when you're going down the lane in a parking lot. You put on your signal so they know that you're going into that parking space if someone is behind you.
So you think you're like the navigator in Star Trek, whatever the new one is, who can just zip in and out of asteroids.
That's way too obscure, Mark. They don't know
Meanwhile,
what you mean.
everybody else who's waiting for you is like, Jesus, just park the car.
Exactly.
No, because the people who are waiting, if they're waiting, 9 out of 10 of them probably are backing into their space as well.
See, I'm a good middle person because I think both sides have a great argument.
Oh, come on. Pick a side. Pick a
Well,
side.
like I see your side where it's like for me it's situational. If I'm closer to a door in an area where it's dark, and the door's on my left side, I will park in reverse to make sure that my door is closer to my entrance or exit so I could just get into my car and go. Or if the opportunity arises and I can pull in backwards, I'll do that. But then I also see where I'm impatient. Like, pull out or pull into your spot. Backwards or forwards, like, just park.
Okay.
Please.
But when I'm parking, it's about me.
I didn't
sure.
notice if you
See,
had diplomatic
that's the point.
plates on your car, because you sound like perhaps you consider yourself an ambassador. You can't be delayed.
I do.
You must, when you're ready to go, you've got to get out there and get to the next venue
Correct.
immediately.
I'll stop you when you're wrong. Keep
Yeah.
going.
No. This is all for clarification.
But he just made our point. It's all about me.
But whoever is pulling in head first, they're not actually taking me into consideration when I have to wait for them to slowly back their ass out. Haven't you been sitting there? It's like, there's no one behind you. There's no one behind you. Please pull out. Please pull. That's the thing, as opposed to the person just drives straight through. They're like, and they're gone.
I guess it just negates each other because it's
But
both the same irritation.
if you're worried about irritation on the front end or the back end, that has to do with the person that's behind you. I'm talking about me as the person who's parking. I have my own priorities that I'm dealing with, one of which is in an emergency, I want to be able to pull straight out. Also, I don't want to necessarily have to look over my shoulder and chance hitting a pedestrian or a car which is driving quickly behind me. Have you ever been in a parking lot and someone's just zooming down the aisle and you're pulling out backwards and you almost hit them because that person's driving so fast and you don't see them? I know I can't be the only one that's happened to.
No, that's also not cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
What kind of emergency are you predicting that is going to happen to you
That's what I've been
in
thinking
a
this whole
grocery
time.
store
Okay.
parking lot?
I'm being 100% serious now. I know we got to go break, but I'm being very serious. We live in a world where you can have a mass shooting at any moment. We live in a world where you may have to get out of there or get somewhere else in a moment's notice. And if it comes down to me having to leave quickly, damn it, I want to be able to pull straight out.
I think I just figured out what it really is.
What is that?
You're incontinent. Time to go to the news.
Look at the time.
Okay. Mark Ronner, score one for you. We've been having fun at your expense. Up until now, it's fair that you got one in. After Mark gets done with his news break, we'll listen back to another classic conversation. The one when we figured out that some of our favorite childhood cartoon and Sesame Street characters were all on the verge of coming out of the closet or something like that. More of the funny on a Friday coming your way. KFI, later with Mo Kelly.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to the weekend. Do you remember that time when I was telling you about rewatching one of my favorite childhood cartoons, but now seeing it through adult eyes and contemporary society? You know, you notice different things. Well, I noticed a lot about the character Speed Racer. And then the conversation just devolved from there. We don't have to go to the theaters to entertain ourselves with a movie. For example, I was in Saturday night just watching Speed Racer, the original cartoon from episode 1, watching them all in sequential order.
Ah, yeah.
And I had a ball. It's on Crunchyroll, which is available through Amazon Prime. I was thoroughly entertained.
And I didn't even know you had a vape pen.
I don't vape.
Okay.
Mark, you can watch Speed Racer without being imbued
Okay.
or imbibing
Well,
or
whatever you say.
chewing.
No, sure.
No, that's not my thing. I was just sleepy. I guess unless you consider like tart cherry gummies as some sort of mood altering,
it's a
mind
party.
altering.
No, not so much. No. Oh, there you go.
It's the best. Rev that engine. Everybody sing. Here comes Speed Racer. He's a demon on wheels. He's a demon and he's going to be chasing after someone. They said demon twice. I don't know why.
He's gaining on you, so you better look alive. He's busy revving up the powerful Mach 5. And when the odds are against him and there's dangerous work to do, bet your life, Speed Racer.
See it through. Go Speed Racer.
Go Speed Racer. Go Speed Racer. Go.
I'm not even going to ask Kiana. I know she has no idea what this is. None.
It'll just depress us.
I know. Just say it. Just, Speed Racer, I've heard of it.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Oh.
But when you watch something like Speed Racer as an adult, I mean, well into your adulthood, and you look at it through adult eyes, it looks very different from when I saw it as a child, of course. Of course, the dialogue is corny and how they make Speed Racer this super moral good guy. They wrap up everything in 30 minutes. It's really ridiculous on its surface. But then you notice other things. And this is going to sound really politically incorrect. I'm just going to put that out there. But I noticed some other things. And I've talked about this before, but I really, really noticed it now. Speed Racer, he wears these black shoes, these really bright red socks, white pants, an ascot, or like a handkerchief tied around his neck, a neckerchief, and mustard gloves, and he's never kissed Trixie. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Man, you nailed the outfit exactly right.
That's how well I know Speed Racer.
Mustard yellow, white
Mustard
pants,
yellows,
black
gray
shoes.
poupon colored.
Yeah.
Well, look, have you seen Racer X?
He's very manly.
You think you're going to be paying attention to Trixie while Racer X is
with
prancing around?
With all that manhood and them tight white pants, and Racer X has this big chest, barrel chest. Yes, Racer X is a sexy dude. He's a sexy beast.
Yeah, Trixie's irrelevant.
But Trixie, the reason I bring this up, because Trixie throughout Speed Racer is jealous that Speed Racer is not showing her attention. In the cartoon, it's always supposedly some other woman that he's showing attention to. But he's really, really fixated on Racer X and every other guy in the story. I'm serious. You go back and look at it through adult eyes.
The clues are all there.
It is all there. I'm waiting for Speed Racer to come out next week.
How about
But
that?
wasn't Racer X's brother?
Yeah, but he didn't know that.
Oh.
Remember? Racer X,
Yeah.
in the show, he got into a fight with Pops Racer and he ran away. In the movie, he supposedly died.
Spoilers.
Well, they tell you that. Like,
You didn't see it? Wait. Oh, I'm sorry.
no,
I
it's
forgot.
not
Fuchi's
spoilers
young, too.
because it's actually in the second or third episode. They explain the whole backstory of Rex Racer.
I was gonna say he has a not a similar outfit, but he's got the same like M on his chest.
And the letters are different.
Yeah.
It's if you know the original Japanese iteration of it's like Michi Go or something. I can't remember what it's called. But no, Speed Racer, he's dealing with some stuff internally. You know, he's trying to find himself because he
bring that
pays
movie,
Trixie no attention, none, and she is fawning over him.
They should bring that movie back to theaters. You know how they're bringing back like old movies?
Yes,
Like,
it was.
They should
I
bring it back.
watched it. I was telling you, Twa, I watched the movie, the 2008 movies. It was way ahead of its time. You had to be a super Speed Racer fan to get all the Easter eggs and appreciate the subtleties in it. And it's a hard cartoon to adapt to the big screen, but the Wachowski, then brothers, now sisters, did a great job with it. And I appreciate the movie now more so than then. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead and
Don't you
disagree.
find the monkey Chim Chim a little bit suspicious as well?
You mean in the TV show?
All of it, the whole scenario. What's the monkey doing there?
They never explain Chim Chim's existence, why anyone would have a pet chimpanzee, and no one around them finds that odd.
Huge red flag.
Michael Jackson had a chimpanzee.
And we thought it was a red flag.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It was a focus point for weirdness. People didn't have, and they dressed up the chimpanzee, and it knew how to drive and talk and communicate. It was all weird.
Yeah, I don't know how to tell you this, Tuala, but pointing out that Michael Jackson did something doesn't really exonerate you from weirdness.
So, if Speed Racer, if you're out there listening, it's okay. Come on out. Come on out. It's different now. That was back in 1967.
Yeah, who since Charles Nelson Riley wears a neckerchief? There you go.
I think he was about the only one. Fred Flintstone?
No, Fred from Scooby and the Gang.
Oh, yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yes, he
totally
did.
did.
Well, since you're on the subject.
Yeah, I think Freddie took the Scooby van to some bathhouses, okay?
Freddie didn't have any interest in Daphne. And Daphne was fine as frog legs. Daphne had a body on her, and everybody knew about Velma.
Oh, don't sleep on Velma. Come on now.
Velma knew. Everybody knew, and Velma was out. She didn't say it, but Velma was out. Can't believe we're having this conversation.
There's nothing more important we could be talking about. Nothing.
Okay, so Speed Racer, Velma, Fred. He's on the low.
Yeah.
Of course, Ernie and Bert.
Nobody's ever disputed that.
Okay.
No,
Interstate-
obviously Ernie and Bert.
All right. Look, Lucy and Ricky slept in separate beds, and they were a couple, right?
Yep.
Ernie and Bert got to be at least 35 years old. Separate beds.
I thought they were in the same bed. Bert
What
and Ernie?
show were you watching?
Yeah, what do you, no, I don't remember that.
What?
Separate.
What? Wait, what?
From watching cartoons to next, weddings. We're going to remind you of our best advice and best practices to navigate weddings, navigate wedding rings, and navigate dead lovers. Yes, dead lovers. We have a special best of edition of The Viral Load with Tiffany Hobbs on the other side. It's later with Mo Kelly on KFI.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now it's time for the Viral Load with Tiffany. Live on KFI's Later with Mo Kelly. She'll talk about the top hits on social media. The Viral Load with Tiffany Hobbs.
The first story involves this. A woman gets married. The marriage ends. The woman meets a new man. He proposes. The woman doesn't like the ring. The woman conveniently loses the ring and decides that she's going to use her ring from her last marriage in place of her current engagement ring that she's lost, and says that she's going to wear this ring until her new fiance replaces the ring. New fiance is understandably pissed at this, but the woman validates herself by saying that she likes the ring from the ex-husband more. Is she wrong? So, Mo, you're married. Mark, I know you're in a relationship. Stefan, I don't know what the status is for you, where you guys are at yet. No pressure. But let's say your current wife, girlfriend, fiance decides that the ring that you give her is not good enough. And she has a ring somewhere buried in the house that you didn't even know of, that she then accesses and wears. And she tells you she likes this ring more and she's going to wear it until you replace her ring. What do you do?
I am the only one who's qualified to answer this, and I'll tell you why. My wife, this is her second marriage. This is my first.
Okay.
So I can actually talk about it in the real world sense of if this were to happen.
It's plausible.
It's actually plausible. there'll be no way in the freaking world I would ever speak to her again, and that would be the end of the relationship. And she could take her funky ass ring and ooh, ain't no way.
You've turned a color I haven't seen yet.
If she's gonna take off the ring that I've given, so she can put on the ring of that last motherfather, oh hells no.
Yes.
There will be no nuptials. There will be no marriage. Calling the whole thing off. There's nothing she can do or say after that.
But she lost the ring, Mo, and you
damn.
can't replace it just yet for whatever reason. And she has this beautiful ring.
Wait, she lost the ring, or she refuses to use it because it's not good enough for her?
She air quotes lost the ring. She probably chucked it somewhere because she didn't like it.
One, I question whether you would have lost it. And then I question your judgment to turn around and say, I lost a ring, my bad. But in the meantime, I'm going to put on my old man's ring. No.
Would you rather her just go ringless until you can replace it?
I'd rather she kiss my ass. And I'm not exaggerating.
Wow.
Mark, what do you think?
Both cheeks.
Say, you don't like my ring? There's that one around the bathtub. You'll have to live with that one.
Not a very sympathetic crowd. Steph.
3 for 3, because that just doesn't seem, very grateful for something that I think women really appreciate. But, that's me.
Got you. So on the flip side of that, there's a second story, again, that involves wedding rings. Again, comes from Reddit. A woman is engaged. Her fiance unfortunately dies in a pedestrian accident. Unfortunate tragedy, right? She moves on. She starts a new relationship a year plus later. She falls in love with the guy, vice versa. Things are going well. The guy proposes. He gives her a ring. She says the ring that she had from the previous relationship, she wears, and she won't be taking that ring off. So she's wearing the ring from the previously deceased fiance. The new fiance presents her with his ring. There's a problem. She won't remove the first ring to wear the new fiance's ring. But there's a death involved. Does that change any of your approach?
Okay, in this, I would have to ask, is the woman who lost the fiance, is she wearing this old ring on the ring finger?
It's on the ring finger according to the new fiance.
That's a red flag right there, because if I meet you, the woman, and you obviously have an engagement ring on, I'm going to first say, let's say I went there. It's like, I'm going to say, so whose ring are you wearing? Are you available? And she says, I'm available, but this is my fiance who passed. It's a real sad story. I'm moving on. I can't take the possibility of a relationship seriously because, number one, she's clearly still grieving and still holding on to the memory of someone. And I'm not going to say that there is an end date on grieving. I just know that there's no place or space for me in her life and heart.
A bit too much emotional baggage.
Absolutely.
Perhaps.
And that's a physical constant reminder. And if I were so stupid to even go further and propose, then I'm just asking for it. I get whatever I get at that point because she's already let me know she hasn't let go.
Yeah, she said it up front. The man was very upfront about the disclosure of her, declaring that she wouldn't remove this ring. So it's not like she hid anything from him or lost anything. It was stated ahead of time, and he still entered into the relationship.
He's a fool.
Mark, does that change the trajectory of your answer? There is a death. There's bereavement now. You have a heart.
Well, call me a needy monster, but I'm going to say I need that attention. And if you're not finished with the other person, it ain't time to move on to the next person, which is me.
She's finished. He's in the ground. It's been a year and a half.
Clearly, she's not.
She loved the ring. It's a memento now. It's not necessarily a connection to him. He's gone. It's just something she likes.
I see what you're saying, but my mind is going to like an Edgar Allan Poe or a Tales from the Crypt story.
Nevermore.
and I see the guy climbing out of his grave and grabbing her by the ring hand.
Okay.
Or your neck,
Or
no,
your neck.
leave me out of this. No, it's not me. She's the one who wants to be with him. So it's the poetic justice of her getting what she wishes, good and hard. That's how those stories work.
You can't control undead love.
Listen, of anybody who's here tonight, who's the one expert on zombies? Come on.
Not Tuala. He likes to profess that he is, but he's not.
I throw my hat into the ring. I'm pretty much an aficionado there.
How about the one who wrote a series of zombie comics?
No. Doesn't qualify. No.
Oh, well,
no.
I stand corrected. Never mind.
No.
It's a weird flex.
I still say the woman needs to be dragged to her death by the corpse of her late boyfriend.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
It got dark here.
Let me ask you this before we get too dark with it. A third conversation that's an offshoot of these two is involving the size of engagement rings.
Size does matter.
There's a whole conversation happening online. It's a continuous one where rings are shared that are small. They're very modest. And of course, we're in the social media age where everyone's showing what they have and everyone is amplifying what they have. And it amplifies what you then don't have, of course, by contrast. So
we're talking about rings here, right? Just want to be clear.
People with women with really, and some men with really small rings are saying that, you know, they're trying to justify the ring size, and they're saying it's love. It doesn't matter the size. And then there are people who on the other side are saying that the smaller the ring, the more minimal the love. What do you guys think about that?
Is this a motion in the ocean thing?
It's a motion in the ocean thing. It's totally that.
There was too much explaining there. I think the answer is obvious.
What if your woman complains about the size of her ring?
I'm just saying, the actions dictate my actions, and if I felt that I was going to marry someone who was that thankless, high maintenance, superficial, can't deal with it. Sorry. And I think that would have availed itself somewhere along the dating process.
Perhaps it may not have. And let's just say that this woman who you love just really wants something that is more her standard, more up to her expectations of you. And you're not able to deliver on that. Does that then...
Bye.
Oh.
Bye.
Bye. That's it?
I'm at a point in my life where I'm not going to get upset because some woman does not see me as the one in her mind. Maybe I don't make enough money. Maybe I'm not tall enough. Maybe I don't have a big enough house. All those things that I've heard before in life. Those things, that's like, whatever. Let me just go real male chauvinist real quick.
Oh, please.
I was someone who got married later in life.
Yes.
Got married at 46. And I learned, and a friend of mine told me this, as I got older, my street value, my stock market value increased. And so the women who turned me down in my 20s were not as, how should I say this? They weren't as
desperate.
Put it this way, I came out on top.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. Give it to me. Thank you.
I was waiting for it.
Because the women who turned me down in my 20s all of a sudden realized, oh, he does have it going on.
Yeah.
And I became more attractive as age went on. So if the woman's worried about the size of the ring and all kind of stuff, kick rocks, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Mo Kelly.
You're Mr. Mo Kelly. And it's again, a consequence of social media.
Let me put out my chest real quick.
Don't forget the dimples.
The dimples poking.
I got pecs too, baby. Pecs.
The pecs and the dimples are poking.
I think those pecs are about a C cup.
Yes. And they're not sagging either. What's my name? Say my name. I think we're done.
I think we're done here.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
You know what? I really don't remember how we got there. I don't remember how we finally got to the subject of Arbor Day. KFI AM 640, it's Later with Mo Kelly. But I do remember that I hate Arbor Day, no matter how or when it is brought up, because it brings up really bad memories for me. In truth, it greatly shaped the person I am today. In fact, here's the backstory, just in case you haven't heard it, on why I hate Arbor Day. I know, Arbor Day. Who possibly could hate Arbor Day? Who? This guy.
Later with Mo Kelly.
We were all over the place talking about this, that, and the other. And somehow Mark Ronner made this Arbor Day reference. It was very disrespectful.
I apologize. I would never want to disrespect you as the host of the show.
It sounds semi-insincere,
No.
as opposed to fully insincere. Anyhow, we had this, off the beaten path discussion of Arbor Day. And I actually thought Mark was being specific because Arbor Day is very important in the history of my life in a bad way. And I was resetting the story. I told this when I was speaking at El Camino. And for people who weren't there, I'll reset it again. Arbor Day, and this had to have been 1981, because I was in 6th grade. My social studies teacher Cletus Nesselrode. Was his real name.
I am so using that name in a story.
Cletus Nesselrode. We called him Nestle Toad. He came up to me, and this was like around first period, and said, Morris, would you recite the poem Trees by Joyce Kilmer? Because this is at Callie Mayer Middle School in Torrance. Because the school was planting a tree in observance of Arbor Day. I was a kid. I was 11 at that point. And as a kid, you try to please adults, please teachers. And I said, sure. I was honored to be asked in some silly sort of way. Then and this is on me. This is my mistake because I remember I asked, am I to memorize it? Now, any sensible adult would have said, no, you don't have to memorize it. I'm asking you literally 3.5 hours before the assembly, which was going to be at lunch. So I assume that was around 12:15. So the whole school was going to be out there for this Arbor Day ceremony. So I asked him, he said, yes, you're supposed to memorize it. And I said, oh, shoot. So I had 3 periods where I'm actually in class, 3 or 4 periods where I'm in class trying to quietly memorize this poem and also participate in class, where any reasonable person is like, no, you don't have to memorize it. You have to go to class and do other stuff. But Cletus Nesselrode said, yes, you have to memorize it. And my father was there as a teacher. He was the band teacher at Callie Mayer Middle School. Come out to the assembly. I will never forget this. I started reciting it, and to this day, I never wanted to relearn the poem. I refuse to. I hate everything about Arbor Day.
You've got Arbor Day PTSD.
I do. I admit that. I started reciting the poem, and I did well, I think, through the first stanza. And if you know anything about public speaking, you can lose your place if you don't focus. And I remember I locked eyes with someone in the audience, a classmate or schoolmate, and then I just forgot. I just completely went blank. And I had a microphone, and I remember I said something like, oh my God. And it was picked up by the microphone. The way I remember it was everyone started laughing, profusely. It was super hilarious. I was embarrassing myself in front of the whole school and my dad who was there watching. And he didn't make a sound or a face. It's like, look, don't embarrass me. Do what you need to do. Finish the freaking poem. That's how he was. He was supportive, but he wasn't going to come save me.
I hope you were smart enough to wear dark-colored pants.
I didn't have to worry about defecation or urination. No, I didn't. And I finished it, and I felt horrible. There are few things that I fear. I don't know if that's the right word. Try to avoid. Being embarrassed is always at the top of the list. And I think embarrassment has to do with not being prepared. So you never hear me on this show or anything I do radio, TV wise without being prepared. I will over prepare.
And we can trace this all back to Arbor Day.
It is absolutely 100% connected.
As your unofficial on-air therapist, I feel sort of bad that I raised this issue.
No. It's a part of my story. It's a part of who I am now, why I am the way I am now. It's why I do come in 3 to 4 hours before my show. I don't wing it. I'm not just here let me just look at this story and start talking. No, I'm actually reviewing and making sure I have as many facts together and have a modicum of knowledge, and then I offer an opinion. I'm not trying to fly by the seat of my pants. Now, there's some stories and stuff that I can do without any real prep. Talk about maybe the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees. That's stuff I don't need to prepare for. You tell me the group, I can just go. But that's limited. But if we're talking about news or politics or some of the nuances of entertainment, I want to make sure I know my stuff. All goes back to Arbor Day.
Whew, look at the can of worms I opened.
Yeah. But I'm much better now.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah.
I'm much better now.
You seem 100% mentally healthy. Whew, Stephen, are we about out of this?
No, seriously. But it, I think, formed who I was, and I think I've benefited because of it. But I think we all have those moments in life we can reflect on, that's the reason I am the way I am today, because of X, Y, or Z. That person, that moment, that teacher, that situation, whatever. You can say whatever you want about me, but you'll never call me unprepared.
It reminds me, I think it was Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, the Steve Martin movie, where the phrase cleaning lady instantly drove him out of his mind. So I'm gonna watch myself and try not to say Arbor Day around you ever again.
It wasn't like, it's an emotional landmine or anything. It was just interesting because you came to El Camino, and I thought would have remembered that story. So I thought you
every word.
Okay.
Every word.
Oh, okay.
Etched into my
look. You remember
memory.
Cletus Nessel Road?
I swear to God, I need names for something I'm working on right now, and I'm going to use that name.
Absolutely, that was his name. I don't know where he's from. All I know is
That's going to be my question.
I don't know. I don't know where he's from.
Did you ever exact your revenge against Cletus Nesselrode?
No, because I never saw him again after I went to high school. Went to high school in the 83, 84 year, and I went back to my middle school to say hello to people every now and then. And there were teachers that I liked, but I don't think I ever saw him again.
So that was way before you could kind of cyber stalk somebody from the old days.
Well, I'm quite sure I could look. I know he's dead now. I don't know.
Well, of course, everybody who taught you in school is dead now, Mo.
Well, yeah, he was old then. I want to say he was in his 50s or 60s then.
Oh, wow.
So he was at least 45, 50 years older than me.
No accent?
I don't think he was from the South. I really don't know where he's from, but the name Cletus Nesselrode just...
Can't forget that.
Yeah, I know people are Googling right now just to let me know. So to let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what happened to him. I don't know where he's from. I just know that he died because on the remembrance page of Cali Mayor, they said, "Oh, do you remember Mr. Nesselrode?" Da, 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 da. And I had nothing nice to say, so I just kept on scrolling.
In other words, you're happy that he's dead.
No, I'm not happy. I just don't feel anything. Kind of like Valentine's Day. I'm apathetic.
In other words, you're overjoyed that he's dead.
No, he was someone's father, someone's son, someone's brother. I don't have ill will like that.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying that he was not my favorite teacher.
I got you.
That's all.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't know what a Confederate flag smells like, but he smelled like a Confederate flag. I'm guessing.
Okay, probably not a great smell.
I'm guessing. All right. It's Later with Mo Kelly on KFI. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.